AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from downtown Baton Rouge.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You show. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Mike Triplett, 30 minutes from right now. We'll talk some Saints. Almost out of obligation. 16.5-point dog at Buffalo this week. Not likely to be great. On the flip side, LSU and Ole Miss could be one of the games of the weekend. Aaron Taylor has been good enough to give us his time here throughout the offseason and to jump aboard again with us. Of course, All-American, first-round draft pick, Super Bowl champion, founder of the Joe Moore Award. Of course, you see him on CBS. He's at Aaron Taylor CBS on Twitter if you want to give him a follow. I'm sorry, at Aaron Taylor CFB if you want to give him a follow on Twitter, excuse me. Aaron, thanks for the time for jumping back aboard, man. We appreciate it. How are you?
I'm good, baby. I'm good. Anytime I'm in Baton Rouge and talking Tigers football, I'm a happy camper.
Well, it's a great time to do it because this is an interesting game with LSU and Ole Miss, Aaron. And the narrative around this one is there's good on good and then bad on bad. LSU's defense, Ole Miss offense, good on good. But the bad on bad is LSU's running game against Ole Miss's run defense. You and I talked before the Clemson game about this 5 new starters on the offensive line. Now they've had a month together. What should we realistically expect the development to look like a month into this new unit playing together?
I'll be honest, buddy. I thought it'd look a little better than it has, but what's happening to LSU, they're not alone in that. We're seeing this across the country with not only new starters, but units that are bringing back a ton of experience. We saw that with Illinois in their game against Indiana. Sometimes you can return a lot of experience and have slow starts. Penn State through 3 or 4 weeks is in the exact same boat. They're starting to run it a little bit better, and they'll need to be at their best against Oregon this weekend. But it's been a rough go for the offensive line position across the board, and we're just not seeing the development in general, broad brush, middle part of the bell curve here I'm talking, that we normally have. So we're still trying to scratch our heads and figure out, what it is. It's probably a combination of a lot of factors, but the high turnover, the portal, human nature and complacency, the fact that there's more parity now in college football where there's a lower ceiling and a higher floor, so you get a higher average and mean, if you will. But the LSU that we were expecting to see underneath the 2 previous regimes that have won the national championship just haven't really manifested. But I think that's part and parcel with also what we're seeing with Alabama and Georgia. So that's a long-ass answer for a simple question. But it's complicated, and candidly, I know who Brad Davis is as a coach, and I know the caliber of player that are there. I even expected to see more than we have from LSU up front through this part in the season.
Aaron, what do you think of Brad Davis as an offensive line coach? He's a great recruiter, but technically as a line coach.
Yeah, I think he's done a pretty good job, right? You have lines that give you a chance to win. You take a look at the tackles last year with Emory Jones and Will Campbell that are going to enjoy healthy, long careers in the NFL, but you got to be more than those pieces. You have to be able to develop. And even last year a little bit, there was a little bit of a step back, but all in all, I think all things being equal, he's proven that he can coach and put together an offensive line on the field that can not only be serviceable but can be dominant at times. So there's been a lot of factors that have, kind of curtailed this LSU offense, and it's not just the offensive line. Garrett Nussmeier, we all assumed would take that next step, and I just don't know if that's happened. You look at the individual throws on the cut-ups, and when I studied him this summer, I'm like, damn, this dude's got the arm to make every single throw he needs. He's now got a receiver group of dudes that can go get it on the outside edge, but again, this offense I use this analogy to describe Clemson last weekend. It's like a pot of gumbo that doesn't have any salt in it. You have all the right ingredients for what should be a delicious dish. It just is kind of bland, and that's the way I feel LSU's played offensively thus far.
How much do you think that has to do with what Brian Kelly talked about a week ago with whatever the torso situation was that Garrett Nussmeier was apparently dealing with?
It's significant, and we see this every year in the draft process where, lo and behold, these injuries get disclosed. We've now got, the injury reports that are something new to college football, but I know for a fact through friends of mine that are in the coaching world that they still don't disclose everything. And it gives away a competitive advantage when you do that. And at some point, maybe they will do everything, but that takes place in the NFL as well. So it certainly is a factor. And that's what gets hard, man. Like the coaches and fans need to understand that BK and Brad and Garrett and all these dudes are out there doing the absolute best they can. They want to win as much as the fan bases do. But football isn't played on paper, and it's not played on preseason expectations. You got to deal with what it is you have to work with, and injuries at that position in particular, especially for a guy who's had some feet issues, can really kind of aggravate those situations.
Aaron Taylor is with us at Aaron Taylor CFB if you want to give him a follow. I want to go back to LSU's offensive line because I want to get sort of technical with you. LSU's right tackle is a guy named Weston Davis, who was a 5-star, super athlete. I mean, Aaron, he's 6'7", 320, and it was on everybody's radar. He's a redshirt freshman starting for the first time, and I don't know if you look at Pro Football Focus or anything, but he's the guy that's kind of like the one that's struggling a little bit, the lowest graded, and it's where a lot of the pressures are coming from. They really run well to the right side. When you see a guy like that starting for the first time, what are some of the tells that you're looking for that he is starting to make progress as a first-time starter? When the athletic, the ability is undeniable, but the level of play needs to catch up.
Well, the first thing the average fan is going to see is lack of bust, lack of tackle for losses allowed, lack of pressures, lack of sacks, right? That's the easiest thing to see. What we're looking for when we study tapes, and candidly, for full disclosure, I haven't studied LSU's offensive line. I've watched them on TV, but I haven't studied it per se. But footwork is so important. Hand placement is so important. You want to see confidence. That's the first thing that I'm looking for. I had a great conversation for our YouTube show, Trench Life, today with Alex Mirabal, who's Miami's head coach, and he was talking about how confidence is important, and he studies his players, and that's one of the tells he's looking for. He's like, I know what these guys are capable of doing. So what that looks like is a guy throwing his hands, or is he catching them, right? We got to get up to the line of scrimmage, and it's a pretty simple formula. Have a plan, start the fight, trust your technique. You can't play this position or this game scared or slow. So I'm watching for those things. Now, you can get some edge creatures coming off the outside edge, and you're going to start to catch. You're going to start to be tentative. You're not going to trust your technique, so your footwork might get messed up. That's very common for young players. I'm a college football Hall of Famer, and I assure you, if you go back and watch my entire true sophomore season and probably half my junior season, you're going to see some of those things, because the O-line position is the most skilled in football aside from probably the quarterback. And what I mean by that is we're playing against guys that are just as strong as us, but quite a bit more athletic in most cases, so we have to be precise with our technique. But nothing we do is natural, so it has to be taught. So you enter into that fact, inexperience, lack of confidence. I was a huge mental case guy. The toughest player I ever played against was myself, and my own insecurity and that negative voice in my head. And that sounds ridiculous, but I'm not alone there, and I know that for an absolute fact. Clearly, I figured it out, and my guess is most players will have a chance to do so, but that's harder to do in the league that you play in and being a first-time starter. And my guess is that's as much to contributing to what's going on as anything else. and I would expect that to get better week over week.
Aaron Taylor is our guest. Get him on Twitter at Aaron Taylor CFB. Hey, did you mention that you've watched Clemson on film?
I have.
Oh, okay, because I don't want to completely deviate from the LSU conversation, but there are obviously interwoven because there's a lot of people. This narrative is maybe that LSU's win against Clemson isn't as impressive because Clemson's sitting there 1-3. What are you seeing with Clemson right now?
I described the gumbo, so maybe I'll go etouffee or red beans. But there's no gumbo filet or no andouille sausage, man. They're using Polish sausage or something. I know for a fact. I watched and studied T.J. Parker. I studied Peter Woods, who are going to be first-round draft picks this upcoming season. I studied Avion Terrell as a cornerback, who is as much of a match and mirror cornerback as you can get. They're just out there, and they're not themselves. We expected Cade Klubnik to make a year-over-year progress. I mean, the dude had 40-plus touchdowns last year and threw for over 3,000 yards. You put the film on, you're like, where's that dude? Something is gone from that team. They returned 5 starters up front on the offensive line. They're not moving people the way that they should. They're not providing the protection the way that they should. So Klubnik, I think he's lost confidence, and his feet are a mess. He's making bad decisions. And you see the emotion of Dabo. Like, that dude's one of the best college football coaches in our sports history. There's no questioning that. He won 2 national championships in 3 years. So that's the standard. It unfortunately is one that he set, but that's how he's going to be held, and they're nowhere near that. And he said himself, they've got to reset what their goals are because what they set out to do is no longer attainable, and he's right. My wife could watch the tape and be able to see that. So, yeah, I think LSU fans are correct to be concerned that if your marquee win is a win against Clemson, you better find something else, and that starts with beating Ole Miss this weekend.
You got a thought on that game this weekend in Oxford?
Man, I like in close ball games. Like, here's what's crazy, right? Trinidad Chambliss is their backup quarterback, and Lane Kiffin has somehow managed to be favored in this ball game at home with his backup quarterback. Like, how many schools in the country can say that? To have a number 2 guy. Now, Texas Tech certainly can. We see it, but it's much more rare than not. So that's concerning to me. So in ball games that are close, man, I typically tend to go with a home team in a situation like this, and especially with Ole Miss and how well Kiffin has done that. But you look at their defensive coordinator, Pete Golding. The things I'm looking for as an analyst and just as a fan, does he load the box to be able to try to stop the run and risk man coverage against LSU's speedy wide receivers? Or does he say, you know what, we think we can stop these guys' run playing too high, have 2 deep safeties so that we don't give up any big plays and make LSU prove that they can walk down the field on us offensively and win this game for us? I don't know if they've played well enough overall in the run game, the Tigers I'm talking here, or in the red zone by being able to score despite their 4 rushing touchdowns that they had last week. I think, to your point, it is strength on strength, weakness on weakness, and because of that, I'm giving a slight edge to the home team that won't have to deal with crowd noise.
He is Aaron Taylor, CBS Sports, founder of the Joe Moore Award. Excited to talk more about that as we make our way throughout the season. You can follow Aaron at Aaron Taylor CFB. You can follow the Joe Moore Award on Twitter as well, at Joe Moore Award. Hey, man, it's always great to get a couple of minutes. We appreciate it greatly, man. Hopefully we do it again soon.
Appreciate you, man. I look forward to it, brother.
That's our pleasure. Aaron Taylor, one of the greats, man. All-American at Notre Dame, won every national award you can imagine, first-round draft pick, Super Bowl champion. Does a great job as an analyst. Founded the Joe Moore Award. What a wealth of knowledge. We appreciate him. All right, we're brought to you by Parish Restoration. ParishRestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. Was pleased to share, of course, Garrett Nussmeier is now done an NIL deal with Parish Restoration. Customer, Garrett's engaged now. He and his wife bought their home, or his soon-to-be wife, I should say, bought their first home. And when they were going through the inspection, they found mold, and they hired Parish Restoration. Jim Woodworth came in, sprayed the patented non-toxic dry fog treatment that I tell you about all the time, and knocked out the mold for the future Mr. and Mrs. Nussmeier. They can do the same for you, your home, your office building, not just mold, other harmful pathogens, remediation, get rid of odor. It's ParishRestoration.com, ParishRestoration.com. Start there at the website, fill out the form on the homepage, and they'll get with you to get you an estimate. ParishRestoration.com. Okay, y'all, it is After Further Review. Thursday shows are presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing in Baton Rouge and all over the state of Louisiana. Told you the exciting news. Blaze and her team are expanding to Dallas-Fort Worth, so they'll have an office opening in Dallas soon. We'll tell you much more about that. Okay, quick break. I got an update on Caden Durham, so we'll get to that when we come back. Brian Kelly meeting with reporters, and then Mike Triplett here in about 15 minutes. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for 3 decades. Get Gordon and get it done. The website's a great resource for you. If you want to go see client testimonials, like actual client testimonials, you could see that. Client results are there. If you want to get in touch with someone, but you're not really wanting to call, okay, you can go to the website. There's a little text bubble right there on the homepage. Just click that little text bubble, and just in seconds, you're chatting with an associate there. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys can help you on your way. If you're curious about what types of cases they handle, I know we talk a lot about car wrecks or big truck wrecks, but there's so many different types of ways that people who are injured, that's not their fault, that Gordon and his team can get you what you deserve, no matter where you are in the state of Louisiana, as well, with offices all over Louisiana. So go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com, or call 888-8888, 888-8888. Get Gordon and get it done.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
LSU is off the practice field here on this Thursday. We will get the official availability report updated tonight. Brian Kelly just meeting with reporters here about 15 minutes ago or so over at LSU. I'll just read this tweet from Wilson Alexander. I know we've got it posted up at louisianasports.net as well, but Wilson Alexander, and I guess everyone there, said Brian Kelly has Caden Durham as questionable against Ole Miss. So still questionable. He will be a game-time decision. They'll get him out there, run him around on pregame warm-ups and see if he'll be able to go. I know there's a lot of fans who are maybe a bit cynical by nature, and you watched the broadcast the other night against Southeastern Louisiana where you saw Jordan Rogers highlight some of the lanes and the holes that Caden Durham's missed. I would point out, how about we highlight the first play of the season? When Caden Durham takes a handoff to the left side, he's bottled up, reverses field, and gets 24 yards around right side. Or the 40-plus yard run he had in week 2 to the left side. One of the things that I know we spent a lot of time talking about, maybe this is something I need to do tonight for tomorrow's show, is go back through my notes from fall camp. Because if you were with us here throughout fall camp, and I would give you the practice reports, one of the things that was a pretty consistent, there were a few consistent themes. One, like offensive line, for example. When they go offensive, defensive line, pass rush drill. The offensive line would fare fine in the individual one-on-one pass rush sessions. When they would go team, the defensive line would really dominate. Another thing that was pretty common is when they went team, the offense would really struggle against the defense, and then boom, they'd hit a big play. It would be incomplete pass, stuff at the line of scrimmage, Caden Durham 60 yards. Like Berrien Brown, big play. Like that was pretty consistent. And honestly, that's kind of what we've seen so far through 4 games, is that this team hasn't necessarily pieced together the long, sustained drive, but they have hit the big play. We could even look back to Clemson, where you went deep to Berrien Brown and looked like you had a touchdown there. We certainly saw them make big plays past couple of weeks. We saw the long run by Harlem Berry against Louisiana Tech. We saw the long run by Caden Durham, the long run by Xavier Thomas. I mean, you've had those big plays, which have kind of defined the run game so far for LSU. And the flip side, when you look at Ole Miss, is that's kind of been their bugaboo, has been their inability to stop the big play. Like, they have given up the big play a lot with their defense. It hasn't necessarily been that sustained running game. That was the case when they played Arkansas in that game in Oxford a couple of weeks ago, where Ole Miss gave up 500 yards of offense. Arkansas in that ball game ran for over 200 yards against Ole Miss that day. That's one of the things that I think you look at. Like, Mike Washington had a 47-yard run against Ole Miss in that game for Arkansas. Taylor Green had a long of 20. So you did see them give up and sort of be susceptible to giving up that big play. So all that to say, I understand some of the skepticism. I also know what Caden Durham is. Like, I watched Caden Durham last year on the road in conference play, and he was awesome for LSU. And I sure would like to see him there this weekend for LSU. So we'll see if he's available. If not, what direction do they go? Is it more Caleb Jackson? Do we see Harlan Berry get his opportunity? Or is it Juwan Johnson? That would be the 12 to 15 carry guy in Oxford this weekend. Remains to be seen. I hope we don't have to find out, but game time decision there for Caden Durham. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. With locations all over South Louisiana, you're never far from a Shaw Bills Tire location. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. They treat you like family. Keeps you coming back year after year after year. So it doesn't matter if you need your oil change, your tires rotated, if your brakes are squeaking, you need an alignment, check engine lights on. Shaw Bills will do all of that, and they treat you like family. They're going to give you a fair price, great service, convenient. If you have to wait, I love the fact that they've got high-speed internet, of course, free Wi-Fi, coffee, the whole kitchenette setup is great, flat-screen TVs, comfortable furniture. So you can wait and actually get some work done. I'm really productive when I do wait over at Shaw Bills. I love this Google review. 5-star Google review said the customer service was great. Went in for a quote on tires. They gave me plenty of options to choose from. Dropped off at 8 a.m. It was ready for 11. My vehicle's running smoothly with brand new tires and front-end alignment. Thanks again to Shaw Bills. Another 5-star Google review. You'll have the same experience. ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com, Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. The Saints injury report is out as well for the Saints and the Buffalo Bills here on Thursday. And I would categorize this as good news for New Orleans. Mike Triplett's going to be here in 5 minutes. I'll ask him. We'll go a little deeper into this with Mike when he's here in just a minute. But for the New Orleans Saints, the disappointing thing, I guess we could say, is Chase Young, again, a DNP for the New Orleans Saints. Dylan Radden's, again, a DNP. So it seems at this point unlikely that you would have Chase Young or Dylan Radden's. Taliesin Fuaga, who was limited on Wednesday, was a full participant on Thursday. Cam Jordan, Trevor Penning, also full participants. That's great news. Looks like Penning will make his season debut this week. And then the other bit of news there is that both Devon Vele and Cam Jordan on the injury list, but both were participated. Devon Vele limited, Cam Jordan a full participant with a groin injury. So not terrible for New Orleans. Certainly the really bad news is that you still don't have Chase Young, and looks like the Saints just missed on that injury with the calf. They thought he'd be back within 4 weeks. Clearly it looks like he won't be, and so you have unnecessarily had Chase Young on your 53-man roster for the last 4 weeks without having him available to you. So that's certainly unfortunate because you could have put him on the short-term IR and had that roster spot for someone else. So we'll get Mike Triplett's thoughts on that. The Saints heading to the Bills coming up here in just a quick second. One other quick note before we grab a break. I noticed this thanks to someone just sent me this via Twitter, just tagged me in a tweet. Mac Brown, my apologies, my device here is moving exceptionally slow, and I'm not sure why, on hardwired internet, so this thing is just painfully loading. But Mac Brown tweeted just a little bit ago. Here it is. My goodness, what is going on? Is your internet, what the hell is going on with this? Anyway, Mac Brown tweeted just a little bit ago, sad we lost Carl Bull Reese today, one of the best DCs to ever do it. He'll be missed, RIP. Carl Reese was a defensive coordinator with Mac Brown at Texas, but Carl Reese was also a defensive coordinator at LSU. He was there during the Bring Back the Magic years initially under Jerry DiNardo, and it's a huge part of those early memories I have as an LSU fan. The Bring Back the Magic, those are the my first great memories of LSU football after 6 straight losing seasons. Of course, beating Auburn 12-6, and the '97 season going to the Independence Bowl in the snow. The '96 bowl or '96 season winning 10 games going to the Peach Bowl. Carl Reese was really a big part of those teams. So Carl Reese, according to Mac Brown on Twitter, passed away today. So condolences to his family. Rest in peace. Former LSU defensive coordinator Carl Reese died today. All right, it's after further review. We'll not got a break. Mike Triplett will be here when we come back. Our show every Thursday is brought to you by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing, not only anymore in Baton Rouge, all over the state of Louisiana. It's not just healthcare. It's healthcare for your lifestyle. You can learn more to set up that discovery call at decisioncriticalbr.com. All right, Mike Triplett next.
AFR.
If you want to feel like your younger self, Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help. Lowest prices, never any contracts. So I'd say it to you this way. You've heard me talk about Goodwood, certainly ED treatments, hormone replacement therapy, dozens of other non-pharmaceutical options to help with things that may be ailing you. If it's anxiety or chronic pain or muscle repair, recovery, libido, lots of different things. Lowest prices, never any contracts. So consider what I just said. Lowest prices, never any contracts. Why not try it? Why not try it? Schedule a consult. Go to yourgoodwood.com. They're on Drusilla. They're on Drusilla in Baton Rouge, not far from I-12. Yourgoodwood.com. Schedule that consultation. Go meet with Gabe. Talk about what issues you have. See what options they have, and try it. You don't know how bad you feel till you start feeling good again.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Mike! Yeah?
New Orleans Saints coverage with some Mad Libs mixed in.
Why don't you just go by Mike?
It's time to talk black and gold with Mike Triplett of New Orleans Football. Presented by Benny's Car Wash. Family owned and operated since 1951.
Oh! What do you do for an encore? Buffalo Bills might answer that emphatically. Mike Triplett's with us. New Orleans Football. Presented by Benny's Car Wash. Hey, Mike, how are you?
You're still bringing me on, huh?
Yeah. I just like talking to you.
I appreciate it. I like talking to you too, man.
I like the intro. Get to hear the Michael Jordan
Good
Be Like
intro.
Mike song.
Great intro.
Really
Great
is.
Intro.
A little stand up and get crunk mixed in there as well. What do you say about Sunday against Seattle?
Yeah, that was disheartening. Look, I thought this team was going to be 0-4, unless they pulled off a surprise or the NFL just got weird early in the season. I mean, we expected the Saints to be in a rebuilding year and to be bad, and the schedule looked tough, and we expected them to start 0-4. So you don't want to overreact to anything, but that was such a hot mess. It was not lining up, not looking ready. False starts and alignment issues, and quarterback talking about not being on the same page as receivers. It's just like, is this team not prepared enough? Like, those are not the kind of questions that you want to be asking. You just want to be like, oh, they got outmatched by a more talented team. Not, they they don't look ready and they don't look competitive. So hopefully they prove that that's a fluke. They look better in week 2 than they did in week 1. Hopefully they can clean it up. But, I mean, if you're looking for hope, I've said this a million times. I'm sure I said it on your show. Like, the realistic model, I think, is like what the Carolina Panthers did last year. And they were 1-7, but then they went 4-5 in the second half of the season. You need to see signs that this team can learn from early warts and start becoming like a 500 team in the second half of the season. But it is painful to watch right now, that's for sure.
Are there signs that they might be improving that I'm just not seeing?
Not that I saw in this game. No, I mean, obviously there were some promising things in the first couple weeks, and everybody was starting to be like, "Hey, Spencer Rattler is out there playing better than some of these other second-year quarterbacks, and this team's not as bad as I thought." And they were down there, with a chance to tie the game or win the game in the final second. So if you reversed it, if the Seattle game was week 1 and then those other 2 games were weeks 2 and 3, we'd probably be talking about positive trends. But yeah, it's hard to it's hard to come away with anything that's not disturbing from just how sloppy and unprepared they looked in week 3.
I think the penalties are a huge part of it too, Mike. And look, penalties of aggression happen, but it's the things that you mentioned, and we've talked about it now for 3 straight weeks. And I asked this question, and I hope it's and I think it's a fair question, Mike. And you would certainly know better than me because you're around this team all the time. But I kind of get the sense that they like Kellen Moore. I don't know that they respect Kellen Moore. Is that fair?
I don't think we've gotten to the point of disrespect yet. I do think disrespect can come up. And look, we saw this with Dennis Allen, like, when a team is in like turmoil and you're in a 7-game losing streak, or you're 0-4, you're 1-5, and you start to be like, oh shoot, this guy doesn't have the answers for how to get us out of this. Or like, Sean Payton had a lot of 0-4 starts, but they were like, we know our offense works, we know our system works, we know if we stick with this, there'll be better days ahead. Nobody knows that with Kellen Moore. There's no like, hey, yeah, we started 0-3, but stick to the process, and we know it's going to work out. Nobody knows that it's going to work out. So in that sense, there just can't be core belief in this team. And look, this is not a talented team. This is a team that's lost talent and hasn't reinvested in it. They are rebuilding. So there's no, hey, everything's going to be all right. Nobody can feel that way right now with this team. But I think there is some time and patience with Kellen Moore. Like, the locker room wasn't as angry as some other locker rooms I've seen. There wasn't as much despair. I mean, there's a reality check to it, but it's not a, we're blowing this. Like, we had this great opportunity and we've blown it. I think everyone was kind of realistic about what the actual opportunity was and that this is going to take a while.
He's on Twitter at Mike Triplett, NewOrleans.football. Our chats every Thursday are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. You can learn more about their membership clubs at Benny'sCarWash.com. I'm glad you went to the attitude in the locker room, because that's literally the word that I wrote down that I wanted to ask about next, where you do have veterans near the end of their career. DeMario Davis, Cam Jordan, guys, Alvin Kamara, guys who I'm certain want to be on a winner, but it's just very clear they're not going to be. What is it like in the locker room right now after an 0-3 start and what we just saw on Sunday against Seattle?
Yeah, I mean, that was the focus of what I wanted to cover on Sunday and what I wrote about. And I think I've seen worse locker rooms. Now, part of it, I think, is that it's just game 3. And it's not just game 3 of the season. It's game 3 of the Kellen Moore era. In some ways, it's game 3 of the Spencer Rattler era. Not a finished product yet. Everyone understood it wasn't going to be a finished product yet. So I think there is still probably some hope from everyone on the team, like, all right, this is bad, but it's going to get better. However, I do wonder about stuff like that. Look, I mean, I think Cam Jordan and DeMario Davis came into this with eyes wide open. They could have asked to leave. Cam Jordan actually took a pay cut to stay. Like, they knew what they were in for, and but Alvin Kamara, I don't know as much. Chris Olave is someone I wonder about. Rashid Shaheed, guys, Alontae Taylor, guys who are like in the earning portion of their careers. Like, there's a lot of people who don't want to have a lost season, and this is going to be a lost season. I mean, you can't even pretend like the playoffs are realistic right now. So there's just the nobility of, let's try to make this team something we're proud of by the end of the year. I mean, obviously there's cases of that. There's, the Dan Campbell Lions, that started whatever they started 0-7, but eventually became the Dan Campbell Lions. I mean, players can talk themselves into being a part of that, but it's a lot harder when you think this is your last year or your most important year.
Did you like the white helmets?
Yes. It's a shame They had to stain them with that loss. Hopefully, the next time they bring them out, it's like at home against the team they can beat. Because you don't want to lose those. You don't want to lose those uniforms and those helmets in the process.
They're better. It's better than the black helmets for certain, which are an absolute abomination. They're an atrocity. But we're still not matching the golds, Mike.
It's unbelievable. We were just having a conversation about that today. I mean, the whole league and sports fashion world agree how good the color rush uniforms look.
Yeah.
Take that gold and throw out every other gold you have in the building and go with that. Or the classic helmet, make it all that. There is a way to repeat it color gold, isn't there? We have the technology, don't we? AI could do it, couldn't it?
Oh, for sure. AI can do everything. AI makes all my thumbnails on my YouTube channel because I don't know anything about that. But I just don't get it. I don't either. Does the NFL prohibit them from changing the color of a decal? These are the things I need you to find out, Mike. Who do you know at the league office that can give me this answer?
And the thing is, they know. At this point, it's not an oversight. They know. They know their golds don't match. And yeah, the just blatant inability to care about that when so many of us care so much more is one of the most disheartening parts of this whole thing.
I agree with you.
I will say this. I'm gonna stick up. I'm not sticking up for the black helmets. I'm gonna hate what they did with that stripe on the black helmet.
Stupid.
But we've gotten a chance to see the black helmets up close in their lockers with a light shining down them. The black helmets in and of themselves are not that bad looking. You need to wear them with black jerseys and black pants. That would actually look pretty cool. I don't know why they wear the black helmets with pale yellow uniform.
They're trying to find the ugliest, stupidest thing they can do. And the concept, Mike, of a black helmet is not bad. That black helmet is awful. You need to go black helmet and then either a white or gray face mask. And then you need to get rid of that stupid stripe down the middle and give me the bigger fleur-de-lis on the side with a gold that matches the jersey. And then you have something. This isn't hard. I have a special needs 11-year-old child who could do a better job of color coordinating this thing than the Saints. If you're going to be a crappy team, at least look good in the uniform. Why you have to look like Pew 2?
They did this last week. We've lost the narrative. They looked good on Sunday. They did. We should be proud. We should be applauding. It's the best thing they've done all season.
Jersey pant, yes. Helmet, no, because the gold doesn't match, and it takes away from the beauty of the jersey pant combo. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Okay, I've completely avoided talking about the Saints being the biggest underdog they've been in 50 years. Give me anything at all to look forward to this weekend. Anything at all.
Yeah. Well, moral victories are on the table for a team in the situation the Saints are in now. I mean, if they look like the Miami Dolphins looked like in Buffalo 10 days ago when everybody thought Mike McDaniel was on the verge of being fired.
Yes.
And Miami went in there and gave him a good game. I mean, even that would be positive. And look, there's just certain aspects of the team. Let me see Calvin Banks kill it. Let me see Tali Fuaga look at me and kill it. Let me see Kool-Aid McKinstry have a great game. People that are going to be building blocks for the team. Let me see Quincy Riley. Let me see, Spencer Rattler. Young players take positive steps. I mean, that's what we're going to be watching for every week this season. And so since it's not win or else, you can still look for all those positives. And if those guys go toe-to-toe with the Buffalo Bills, and you feel even better about it than if you dismiss it when they do it against the Carolina Panthers.
Mike Triplett,
how was that? That was pretty good.
I'm not going to lie to you, Mike. I just zoned out and started thinking about the uniforms again, and then I was looking up Dan Campbell's 2021 with the Lions. Honestly, that's what I was doing. I'm going to be very they started 0-8. They started 0-8. Then they had a tie, so they were 0-8-1. They lost two more. They were 0-10-1, and then they beat Minnesota 29-27. But they had a lot of really close games in there, man. They scored 33 against the Niners. They lost a 19-17 game to Baltimore. They had They had the tie. They lost a 13-10 game at Cleveland, 16-14 to the Bears. Like, they had close games. Like
okay, I'm gonna go genuine positive here. That's not off the table, I think, after this week. You know, it's funny, somebody came in our chat or the live stream, the watch along that Nick and DJ do during the games, and pointed out that Sean Payton's third game with the Denver Broncos, it was that week they lost like 70-20 to
Miami.
Dolphins.
Yeah.
It was such an embarrassment. Yeah. And so there you go. Like, you can have those embarrassments and it can get better. This like, once they get past this Buffalo game, like, it's like there is realistic possibility that there could be actual wins and close games right around the horizon. So we're not seeing a win on Sunday, but there are wins available, or at least, that was a close, exciting game. Like, that's available. That's going to be available soon.
Thank you, Mike. Mike Triplett. Thank you. We'll see you later. New Orleans football, and our chats with Mike every week are brought to you by Benny's Car Wash. Thanks, Mike. Okay, he's gone. Okay, that's fine. No. There was like a Benny's Car Wash pun there where I need to like wash all the filth from that game off of me, so I won't go through Benny's Car Wash. There's options there. When you are powerless like the New Orleans Saints, maybe you need Arco Power Systems. Huh? All right, Muse, come on. We're almost there, Muse. We're almost there. Arco.com, ARCCO, Arco.com, Arco.com. We're talking about industrial Generac power. Okay, so this is for your business, not for your home. These are Generac industrial energy generators. Permanent install options, standby options, rental options. They can service your generator as well. When the power goes out, what does your business do? Well, you call Arco. This is energy for your business. Get started today at Arco.com, Arco.com, ARCCO, Arco.com for Arco Power Systems. Okay, final break. We'll be quick, but Otter will be here to give us some picks. Get Thursday Night Football play. Otter, 4-1 last night. Let's go. We'll see what he's got next. AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Glow Resources. GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions. Love telling you about Glow Resources with Jareth Nakan and the gang over at Glow Resources. Yes, they specialize in skilled blue-collar labor, but it doesn't matter what your business is or what position you're looking to fill. Our friends over at Glow Resources can help. So check them out online. Start there at the website at GLO, glowresources.com, glowresources.com. They have a 96% success rate. And I want to remind you this again. You hire Glow Resources. They go through their process to find you a permanent employee solution. If for whatever reason it doesn't work, they'll give you a prorated refund or find you a new employee for free. Got nothing to lose. Want your business to be more profitable, more efficient? You need the right people. Glow Resources can help you do it. GLO. glowresources.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Decision Critical Concierge Nursing. Healthcare for your lifestyle. Learn more at decisioncriticalbr.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR, presented by Decision Critical. Big thanks to Blazer Rivette, her whole team. More than 80 nurses now covering the entire state of Louisiana. They're about to expand into Dallas. If you're bringing a baby home from the hospital to end-of-life care, anything in between, maybe you got a tough diagnosis, caring for an elderly parent, you need in-home care, whatever it may be. They have therapeutic phlebotomy. If you're a man on hormone therapy and you're prescribed to give blood, they can come do that at your home, at your office. IV hydration at your home, at your office, wherever it may be. It's concierge nursing. It's not just healthcare. It's healthcare for your lifestyle. DecisionCriticalBR.com, DecisionCriticalBR.com. But remember, even though it says BR, they service the entire state now and coming soon to Dallas-Fort Worth. DecisionCriticalBR.com. All right, I ran this up against the clock here at the end of the show. So I'll just run through Jimmy's picks for you here. And they're always up at LouisianaSports.net if you want Otterlock. So Jimmy's got a few things on the docket. Of course, there's an NFL game tonight. Cardinals, Seahawks. Jimmy likes the home team. The Cardinals are getting 1.5 points there at home, so he likes the home team. getting a 1.5. He's also got Army. Now, he gave this plus 4.5. I just checked it at DraftKings. Army is now at plus 3.5. So some Army money. The Otter moved the line, clearly. Yeah, look, put out Otter locks on LouisianaSports.net. Money starts flowing in, those lines move. And then how about this? Couple of plays in Major League Baseball. Cubs on the money line, minus 103. And then the Colorado Rockies on the money. Like, I wish Otter was here to explain this. Rockies on the money line, plus 227.
It's up to 245 at DraftKings.
That's I just played it.
Yeah.
He gave it out at plus 227. Have the Rockies won like 27 games all year?
They actually passed the White Sox. They're not the worst team ever.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But Otter's giving out the Rockies on the money line. I'm riding with the Otter on that one. You better believe it. Let's get nuts. There's like 2 days left of the baseball season. Let's pick the Rockies to win a game. All right, Muse, Pauly, thanks. Y'all have a great night. See you tomorrow 3.
After further review.
As we get on down the road, remind you about First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Listen, you're a deer hunter. I know a lot of you are. You know I'm not. That's okay. But I love the fact that all of you go hunt deer, and I get to eat all the deer meat. It's awesome. Please do that. But if you're a deer hunter and you just hate sharing a lease, you hate being on someone else's lease, you want your own property. Of course you do. Why wouldn't you? That would be everybody's dream. Like, of course you want your own place. First South Farm Credit can help. FirstSouthLand.com. FirstSouthLand.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Maybe it's that hunting property. Maybe it's 1,000 acres for agriculture. Maybe it's 20 acres, 100 acres to build your family's dream home. First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com.